This is an interview with Ross Harlan on April the 13th, 1972 at his home in Oklahoma City. And we're talking about some of the slides which he made along some of the Oklahoma trails, or some of the trails that pass through Oklahoma. Let's start with that first one.
This first slide is a monument on the Chisholm Trail near where the trail enters Oklahoma, near the Red River, just north of the Red River.
I'm sorry, I had the wrong speed. Go ahead.
This first slide is a picture of a monument on the Chisholm Trail near the town of Addington, just north of Red River, where the Chisholm Trail enters Oklahoma from Texas.
All right, why don't take a second. You want to see? Yes.
This next slide is a scene on the Talamina Drive between Talahena, Oklahoma and Mena, Arkansas, at the location where the Fort Smith-Fort Towson Road crosses the Kiamichi Mountains. This is probably the highest point on the Fort Smith-Fort Towson Road where the old military road came across here.
Are you able to identify any part of the...
The trail is just off to the right of the white flowers in the foreground, just as it started down the west side of the first plateau on the Kiamichis. This is approximately 8 or 10 miles east of Talahena, Oklahoma. Okay. This next slide is in Red Rock Canyon State Park, just south of Hinton, Oklahoma. This canyon was an important stop on the California Trail from Fort Smith, Arkansas to the gold mine country in California in the 1849 days. This was one of the most important watering stops on the whole trail. It was an especially good place because of the stream of water which flows through the canyon and because of the protected area by the height of the canyon walls, and also because of the smooth floor of the canyon. The main trail into the canyon is to the rear of this location, and the main trail out of the canyon is to the right of this location. The ruts of the wagon trails are still clearly visible in both locations. This is the parade ground at Old Fort Reno, just west of El Reno, Oklahoma. And from the standpoint of historic interest as far as the trails of Oklahoma are concerned, this Fort Reno was on one of the branches of the Chisholm Trail, which was used not only for the movement of cattle from Texas to the marketing centers in Kansas, but was also used as a military road for the movement of men and supplies up and down through Oklahoma. This parade ground is in the approximate center of the old fort, with the commissary building and the arsenal in the rear of this picture, just west of the flagpole. The Chisholm Trail came through Fort Reno approximately 100 yards northeast of the parade ground. This next slide is the picture of Rock Mary on the California Trail, approximately 5 miles west of Red Rock Canyon. This was an important landmark on the California Trail, since in the relatively flat terrain of western Oklahoma, a landmark of this size and standing up from the surrounding prairie, it was easily seen for a great distance. This was the first landmark after the wagon trains or the people moving westward left Red Rock Canyon.
Is that a no fun today picture? The Rock Mary?
This next slide is one taken on the Cimarron cutoff of the Santa Fe Trail, a few miles west of Boise City, Oklahoma, on the highway from Boise City north into Kansas. The trail is clearly visible at this point, as it is practically all the way across the Oklahoma Panhandle. The sign points out that this cutoff was surveyed in 1826 and 27. In the background, the trail can be clearly seen since it is a darker color than the surrounding terrain. At this point, the trail is approximately 150 to 200 feet wide. All the way across the Panhandle, the Cimarron cutoff had 3 wagon trails on it, and the 3 wagon trails can be seen very clearly in the trail as it crosses the horizon to the southwest. The main reason for the Cimarron cutoff was the use of a shorter distance from Independence, Kansas to Santa Fe, New Mexico. The original trail went around by Bent's Fort in southeastern Colorado and through Raton Pass, but in search of a shorter route, this location was chosen and surveyed. The main difficulty across this route was the arid conditions which existed between the time the trail left the Arkansas River in Kansas and crossed the Cimarron River in the Panhandle. This was a severe trial for many of the people moving down the trail, particularly during the summer months. This slide is taken at the north edge of Dover, Oklahoma, and shows the Chisholm Trail where it crosses the hedgerows just as it's leaving the present town of Dover. In approximately the center of the picture, the depression in the hedgerow can be clearly seen where the Chisholm Trail moved across this area. The trail is not so clearly visible moving across the wheat field in the foreground as it is where it goes through the hedgerow. This was in the winter of the year, as you can see a few traces of snow in the foreground. Dover was an important stop on the Chisholm Trail, since there was a place, an inn and a place for travelers along the trail to stop just north of the river in what is now the south part of the town of Dover. The trail crosses Highway 81 approximately 100 yards south of the point at which this picture was taken, or approximately 300 yards from the place where the trail crosses the hedgerow. There is a highway marker sign at the point at which the trail crossed the place where the highway is now located. This is another view of the same location taken from Highway 81, showing the trail going through the hedgerows in the background. The location of the trail is just a short distance to the right of the center of the photograph. The depression is clearly seen at this point also. The line of the trail is approximately from where I was standing when I took this picture to the point in the hedgerow at which the trail obviously crossed. This is in the north edge of Dover, as was the last picture. This is a scene on the Fort Smith to Fort Towson military road, which was the main road connecting these two early Oklahoma forts. This is in the town of Pocola, which has been a community in the Choctaw Nation before statehood for about 150 years.
Is that Pocola? P-O-C-O-L-A?
Yes, P-O-C-O-L-A, Pocola. This early settlement in the Choctaw Nation was probably established here due to the location of the military road, which at the time of the settlement was in active use. This depression by this home in Pocola is the route of the old road right through this community, and at this location it's going in a southwesterly direction, which is the approximate alignment of the road all the way from Fort Smith to Fort Towson. This is another scene where the depression of the road is clearly visible. Looking at the barn in the background of the picture, the depression can be clearly seen just this side of the barn. At this location, the road is fairly wide and is generally throughout this area, even though it's been farmed for many years, is visible in a great many locations. The next slide is a scene on the Fort Smith to Fort Towson road, where the road crosses Backbone Mountain, which is located southwest of the community of Pocola. The road crossed this location at this point. Since the road was first established, there have been successive roads across this route, and at this particular location there has been some grading work done for the establishment of a road in fairly recent times. The next slide is at the approximately the same location where the old military road crosses Backbone Mountain in the Pocola vicinity, and it's taken from a little bit different perspective than the last slide. The alignment of this road is on the alignment of the other road, but the grading work which has been done has removed the original alignment. This next slide shows the location of the old military road just in approximately the center of the picture. You can see trees on either side of the faint trail of the road. The small saplings in approximately the center of the picture are on the exact alignment of the old road, and this is the remains of the old road in this location. Clearly visible in the next picture is the old road itself, where it has not been graded and made into a modern road, but this is the original road in this location. You can see between the two rows of trees where the road was. In the background is Sugarloaf Mountain, which is approximately on the Oklahoma-Arkansas line, a few miles east of this point. This slide is near the ruins of the old town of Cully-Chaha, which is located approximately 2 to 3 miles west and south of the present town of Cameron, Oklahoma. The old road can be clearly seen at this point as it crosses the mountain. And this is another scene near the old town of Culichaha, looking toward the range of mountains on the Oklahoma-Arkansas line to the southwest of this point. The depression of the road can be clearly seen near the tree in the approximate center of the picture. In the foreground, the bare spot marks the location of the road at this point. This is in approximately the same location, showing the Sugarloaf Mountain looming up in the background, with the old military road going approximately from the lower right-hand corner of the picture to the left center of the picture. The depression by the tree in the left center of the picture is very obvious here, where the road began to descend across in order to cross the creek in the middle of the picture.